Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 7th of August 2022. So let us quickly look into those topics that are important for discussion today. So we are going to take into consideration these topics while discussing the Hindu newspaper for the day. So the first topic is, it says SKM, ex-serviceman youth join hands against Agnipath. Okay, so you might be knowing that the government of India has come up with new rules related to recruitment of personals in defense services, right, in various military forces. So that scheme is known as Agnipath scheme, and so many people have been protesting against the Agnipath scheme because of the limited tenure that the officers, that the new recruits are going to get in this particular scheme. So similar to that, the SKM is an association of the farmers organization. Okay, it is known as Samyukt Kisan Morcha. Okay, so the Samyukt Kisan Morcha, the ex-servicemen and the youth, they have joined hands together to oppose the Agnipath scheme of the government of India. So we will learn about this particular move of these people in detail in this particular article. So this topic is important under Indian polity section for the GS paper 2, and also important for Indian economy because it is relevant with the employment related aspects. Along with this, we are going to discuss the next topic. It says Indian virtual herbarium, biggest database of countries' flora, is a global hit. So in this topic we are going to understand about what is Indian virtual herbarium. Okay, we are going to understand what is herbarium. Okay, so we are going to understand about the new Indian virtual herbarium, and so this topic is important under environment and ecology. This is important for GS paper 3 of the mains exam. After this we are going to talk about another topic. This is topic number 3. Here it says Biden to host Pacific Islands leaders at White House. Okay, so you might be knowing that Joe Biden is the president of the United States of America, and he is going to host the leaders of Pacific Island nations. So we are going to understand about the Pacific Islands. We are specifically going to talk about the Solomon Islands, and we are going to understand about that why the United States of America is interested in forging deeper ties with the Pacific Island nations in this particular article. Okay, so this topic is important under international relations, and it is important for GS paper 2. After this we are going to look into another topic. It says how will the 5G auction impact the sector. Okay, so 5G, you might be knowing that 5th generation services are going to be provided using bandwidth of signals. Okay, using a bandwidth of signals, and for those signals the government of India has recently conducted auction, and many industry leaders, many telecom companies have participated in that particular auction process, and they have bidded very high amount for acquiring the spectrum. So we are going to understand about the few nuances associated with that sector, and we are going to understand about how this particular spectrum auction process is going to impact the telecom sector. Okay, or the telecom services providing companies, how it is going to affect them. So this topic is also important under Indian economy and also for the science and technology section of the GS paper 3. So after this we are going to talk about another topic. It says data law delay. Okay, data law delay, this particular topic is relevant for the personal data protection law, and in this article we are going to discuss about Justice B.N. Srikrishna Committee recommendations. We are going to talk about Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, and we are going to talk about why the government of India has planned to withdraw this particular bill and come up with a new bill in this article. Okay, so we are going to discuss all of it in detail. So this topic is important under Indian polity, and it is also important under science and technology section of GS paper 3. So we are going to discuss all of it today, so stay tuned. So we are going to discuss in detail these topics. Okay, so the first topic says SKM ex-serviceman youth join hands against Agnipath. Okay, restore time tested recruitment scheme for armed forces. Okay, so here you can see like many leaders, and these leaders come from different fields. So these leaders have met together and they have just one thing, that they want the Agnipath scheme to be withheld, to be to be withdrawn by the government of India. Why do they want the Agnipath scheme to be withdrawn? Because like they are of the opinion, they are of the belief that the previous or the existing schemes for recruitment of armed forces personals are time tested schemes, and these schemes are really good. So like government of India should fill the vacancies in the armed forces using the existing schemes, existing norms. Okay, the government of India should not recruit people under this particular act, which is Agnipath scheme. Okay, so like we have understood about their stand. Okay, we have understood their stand means like they are against the Agnipath scheme, and like they are saying like we are going to launch agitation, and that agitation will be joined by the Samyukt Kisan Morcha, which is like the largest or the umbrella organization of more than 300 farmers associations. And apart from this, like many veteran like military personals are also joining them, right, against the Agnipath scheme. And apart from this, like youths are also going to join them. Okay, so all of them are going to launch agitation against the Agnipath scheme, and they are demanding from the government that the government of India should withdraw this particular scheme. Okay, they should withdraw this particular scheme. So this is the thing. So in this article they have mentioned about like from when to when they are going to conduct the sammelans. And so this particular they have conducted a joint press conference, and they have said that the farmers, leaders and the defense veterans, they said that Jai Jawan, Jai Kishan Sammelans, okay, these meetings would be conducted in various states in India. They are going to conduct these meetings. The name of the meetings are Jai Jawan, Jai Kishan Sammelan. Okay, so these will be conducted in the states of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Bihar and Punjab between August 7 and 14. Okay, so this will be, so these meetings will initiate the agitation process against this scheme. Okay, so they are going to do the things lawfully. Okay, and apart from this, right, apart from this, they have also told like why they want this particular scheme to be withdrawn, because like this particular scheme gives a very limited scope for continuity of career for those people who are joining it, because like they'll be spending the crucial 4 years of their life, after then like they will be rendered jobless. Okay, the youths will be rendered jobless. So these people are of the opinion that either you make changes in the Agnipath scheme to make it similar to the existing recruitment scheme, or you withdraw the scheme altogether. Okay, so this is the demand of these leaders. Okay, so you can read about this article in detail. You will understand about multiple things associated with the viewpoints of people related to Agnipath scheme. With this, we are going to talk about another topic. This topic is about Indian virtual herbarium. Biggest database of countries' flora is a global hit. Okay, so let us understand about what do we mean by herbarium. Okay, herbarium is a kind of database. Okay, it's a kind of a storehouse for what? For plants, like dried out plants, images. For example, like you can see, this is the image, right? Image of dried plants. Okay, let's say there are plants and the plants are cut, they are placed somewhere else in a museum kind of environment. So like we will be having dried plants. If we are storing those plants in museum like environment, okay, so that is known as herbarium. Okay, it is known as herbarium. Like in botanical gardens, what we have live plants, those plants that are alive. We have live plants in the botanical garden, but in herbarium we have dried and dead plants. Okay, so like this is herbarium. Now so like we have the dried plants in herbarium, but like the government of India, some of the agencies, they have created virtual herbarium. What do we mean by virtual herbarium? Virtual herbarium means like we do have dried plants, like we have captured their images, we have entered their details, like which plant does it belong to, like there are multiple kind of details that are available for a single plant, like how old it is, from where it has been taken, right, which which family of trees or plants does it belong to, okay, its scientific name, its common name, lot of information, right, are stored digitally. So like there will be an image, there will be a picture, and along with the picture there will be huge number of details related to that particular plant. So this is known as virtual herbarium. So recently the Botanical Survey of India, okay, the scientists from the Botanical Survey of India, they have developed the Indian virtual herbarium, and like they have created a database, and that database, they have created a website out of it, and that particular website became a global hit, okay, it has become a global hit. So around the world, scientists from around the world, they are looking into that particular herbarium, and they are getting the information that they need, okay. So it says that the new herbarium, the Indian virtual herbarium, it is biggest database of the country's flora, okay. Flora means like the information about the plants, okay, not about animals, okay. When we talk about animals, we talk about fauna. When we talk about plants, we talk about flora. So this is the biggest database of country's flora, okay. So it is a global hit. Why? Because like multiple countries are gathering information from it, and this Indian virtual herbarium has 1 lakh like flora, 1 lakh plants information, 1 lakh different type of plants information. And if we talk about India as a country, we have 3 million. We have 3 million different types of plants located in different places in India, and this Indian virtual herbarium will be integrating information from all those plants in the coming years, okay. So it is a process, it is a project in the making, okay. So now, as of now, they have a huge data, like they have data of about 1 lakh different plant species, okay. And this Indian virtual herbarium was inaugurated by the Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, in Kolkata in July 1, okay. Why it has been launched in Kolkata, I am going to discuss about that also. So this is the website of Indian virtual herbarium, okay, ivh.bsi.gov.in. IVH means Indian virtual herbarium .Botanical Survey of India, bsi.gov.in, okay. So this is the link of the website, okay. If you want to visit, like you can just type it on any of your browser, and like you can hit enter, and you will be visiting this particular website, okay. So as of now, the Indian virtual herbarium has 1 lakh images, okay, of herbarium specimens, okay. It has 1 lakh images. And the thing is, like the Botanical Survey of India has a zonal center, okay. They have a zonal center at Calcutta, and it is known as the Central National Herbarium at Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanical Garden at Howrah in West Bengal, okay. So they have this particular thing. So this is an information for all those nature lovers, for all those people like who are like environment friendly, like who are willing to gather information related to different type of trees, different type of species that are found at different locations in India, okay. So this is like for botanists, this is for normal citizens, this is for UPSC aspirants like you, okay. So these are the images that you will be finding, and these images has a lot of information, okay. What kind of information does it have? So like I'll read those information also. So like the each image that we have, the image of the preserved plant specimen, the scientific name, collection locality, the collection data, collector's name, and the barcode number. So it's going to have all these information associated with each image that you are going to see in the Indian virtual herbarium. So with this, let us take another topic. This topic is about international relations. So we are going to talk about the international relations between the United States of America and the Pacific Island countries, Pacific Island nations. Okay, so let us understand about this topic. So it says Biden to host Pacific Island leaders at White House. Okay, US seeks to counter China's growing influence in the region. Okay, US seeks to counter China's growing influence in the region. So let's understand about it. Okay, so when we talk about Pacific Island nations, so these are those island countries, that are in and around the Pacific Island. Okay, in and around the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so we have Pacific Ocean, we have Indian Ocean, we have, you know, many oceans, right? So those island countries that are located in and around the Pacific Ocean are known as Pacific Island countries. So there are many countries, right? So you can search about the name of Pacific Islands in Google, so you will come across a list of those nations that are Pacific Island nations. Okay, so now the United States of America has thought that they want to deepen ties, they want to increase the, you know, kind of engagement with the Pacific Island nations. And how do they increase the, you know, ties or deepen the, I mean, like, you know, like bilateral relations with these nations is through common dialogue, common negotiation. For this, like, you know, the United States of America, US President like Joe Biden, Mr. Joe Biden is going to host a meeting, okay, of the Pacific Island leaders in the White House. Okay, and they are going to conduct this meeting for deepening a regional charm. Okay, so this is the thing, and this meeting will be a historic opportunity with the United States and Pacific Island countries to hear and listen the Pacific way. So this was said by one of the spokesperson of the White House. Okay, so they want to deepen the ties with the Pacific Island nations. Why they want to deepen? Because like in Pacific Island nations also, the Chinese government, the China, is trying to have hegemonic, you know, relations. They are funding multiple projects and they are I mean, like, influencing the Pacific Island nations. So to counter their influence and to have deeper ties with these countries, the United States of America is going to, I mean, like, you know, have negotiations, dialogue, I mean, meetings with the leaders of the Pacific Island countries. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so now, like, there is another island which is known as Solomon Island. This Solomon Island played a very important and strategic role during the World War. Okay, during the World Wars. So Solomon Islands, which is marking the 80th anniversary of the Second World War, battle of, you know, like Guadalcanal. Okay, so the Pacific Island is marking 80th anniversary of the Second World War at this particular location, which is known as Guadalcanal. So Solomon Islands are at the center of the renewed South Pacific rivalry between Beijing and Washington. Okay, so they have taken a series of decisions. I mean, like, you know, the Solomon's PM, his name is Manessa Sogavare, that appear to echo China's authoritarian style of governance may also be up for discussion. Okay, so like lot of things are there. So you know, from this article we understand how a nation fosters deeper ties with other countries, like, you know, how they start, you know, like deepening their engagement with one another, like when it comes to, you know, bilateral ties between different countries. Okay, so one side we have the United States of America, on other side, you know, there will be multiple countries. Okay, so USA is going to have a bilateral thing with this country, that country, that country, and so it is going to, like, you know, make US a hegemonic, I mean, like a country with better relations with these Pacific Island nations. With this, let us talk about another topic. This topic is about the 5G spectrum. Okay, we are going to understand about 5G spectrum auctioning process. We are going to understand about what do we mean by 5G, and we are going to talk about like how it is going to shape the telecom industry in India. Okay, so the article is, how will the 5G auction impact the sector? When will the mass rollout happen? Will better services help improve the debt situation of telecom providers? Okay, so now if we talk about the 5G, 5G stands for fifth generation of telecom services. Okay, fifth generation technology, 5G technology. Okay, so through 5G technology, the telecom companies are going to roll out, right, 5G services for common users like me and you. Okay, So once the 5G services are rolled out, right, we may have to change the mobile equipments if they are not, I mean like, they are not capable of handling 5G data. Okay, so like various upgrades in different mobile phones will be there, and at this point of time many of us may be having those mobile phones that are 5G enabled. Okay, so the thing is like we need like everybody around there are waiting for 5G services to be rolled out by these companies, but the thing is the process has just started. It's going to take a long time. It may take around a year from now for the rollout of 5G services. But as of now, the government of India has already auctioned the 5G airwaves, okay, 5G waves to different different companies. And these companies are telecom service providing companies. For example, Jio, Reliance Jio. And then we have Airtel, we have Vodafone Idea, we have other players in the market also. So like they have participated in the auction process, and the biggest bidder for the auction in the auction process was Reliance Jio. So they have acquired a major portion of the 5G spectrum. And the second biggest stakeholder for the auction process was Airtel. Then third, Vodafone Idea. Then there is a company also, Adani. So they have also participated in the auction process, and they have acquired some of the airwaves that they will use for the captive telecom services. Okay, so they are going to use it. But the thing is, like, if we talk about like what are the different range of spectrum, okay, so range of spectrum, I mean like it is 24,740 megahertz of spectrum that was acquired by Reliance Jio. Apart from this, Airtel has acquired 19,867.8 megahertz worth spectrum. Okay, and apart from this, Vodafone Idea 6,228.4 megahertz spectrum. So these companies have acquired the spectrum, right? Why they have acquired? So that they can roll out the 5G services, and they can onboard masses on it. So these companies are going to get benefited. But when it comes to 5G technology, okay, 5G technology as of now is new to India. Okay, why new to India? Because none of us have experienced the 5G technology in India so far. So like those people who have gone to outside, who have 5G enabled devices, they might have experienced it. But like after 5G, we are going to witness more data speed. Okay, we are going to witness more data speed. So there are some concerns, which kind of waves are they acquiring? So there are low frequency bands, there are high frequency bands. When we talk about low frequency bands, so these bands are providing low frequency bands are providing high speed. Okay, they are providing high speed internet, but at the same time the range will be lower. In case of high speed, in case of high band frequencies, so they'll be providing low speeds, but it will be having higher range. So these companies have mostly participated in the medium range of frequencies. That's going to balance both the requirement, means the speed will be higher, and they will have adequate range of coverage as well. Okay, so this is the thing. So here we don't need to go into different frequency bands and all. These are very technical data, but we just need to understand about that the mid band spectrum falls somewhere between the two, between low band spectrum and high band spectrum. And the mid band spectrum carries sizable data over longer distances and maintain increased speeds. Okay, so this is the thing. So these companies have participated. So how soon can we witness the 5G services to be rolled out, right, en masse by these companies? So it may take about a year from now, and these companies are going to roll out these services in metro cities, metropolitan areas, where we have huge population, and at the same time where we have the paying capacity of people to be higher, because these companies have put in a huge amount of money for acquiring these spectrum, and they are going to put in a lot more money in installing the upgraded devices, okay, for the 5G services. So rural India may witness penetration of 5G services at a later date, at a later time, but like these companies are willing to like operate in the metropolitan cities in the beginning. Okay, however, Reliance Jio, I mean like Reliance Jio have acquired high amount of frequency and all, so it may roll out the 5G services in the remote part of the country as well. So we need to see like how it unfolds, but like so I talked about a company of Adani. So this is Adani Data Network. So they have also acquired 400 megahertz of high frequency band by paying 212 crore rupees, and they are not going to roll out in the customer mobility space. They are going to use it for, I mean like, enhancing the cyber security in its airport, ports, logistics, power generations, transmission, distribution, and various manufacturing operations and all. Okay, so this is all about this particular article, okay, related to 5G technology roll out. Okay, so what I have done is like I have highlighted all those important points, all points like wherever like CRISIL is a rating agency. It rates different industries, it rates different corporate entities, right? Like they rate according to the financial situation or like financial strength of the companies. Okay, so this is the thing. So what different people have talked about, like what is important, so I have just like highlighted them. So in your free time you can go through the article. Okay, so you will understand them more. So now let us talk about another topic. This is also really good topic. Okay, it says data law delay. Why the government withdrawn the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 after JPC scrutiny. Okay, so let us understand about this article. Okay, so data law delay means recently the government of India has withdrawn the Personal Data Protection Bill. Okay, and that Personal Data Protection Bill was moved by the government of India in the year 2019. Okay, but like how this bill came into being for the first time, we need to understand about that factor as well. Okay, so there was a case like the Supreme Court was hearing, and the name of the case is Justice Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case. So in that particular case, the Supreme Court of India has ordered in 2017 that right to privacy is an intrinsic part of the right to life and personal freedom guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. Okay, so like in the Justice K.S. Puttaswamy case, Supreme Court of India highlighted the importance of right to privacy, and Supreme Court of India said that right to privacy is an integral part or is an intrinsic part of the right to life and personal freedom, which is guaranteed by the Indian Constitution under fundamental rights. In the light of this judgment and the concerns around how large tech platforms were handling personal data of its Indian users, the center means the central government, like seeing this particular judgment, and also like how the foreign companies that are operating in India, how they are using and utilizing and acquiring the personal data of Indian citizens, right? So the central government has come up with, the central government has framed an expert committee. Okay, so that expert committee was chaired by the retired Supreme Court Justice B.N. Srikrishnan. Okay, so Justice B.N. Srikrishna headed the committee of experts, and this committee of experts was given the task of formulating a policy that can guide the government of India for framing a policy related to personal data protection. Okay, so this particular expert committee, they have submitted its report, and along with the report they have submitted a draft of the data protection bill. Okay, and this draft data protection bill was submitted to the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay, it was submitted to the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, but the government of India did not roll out that particular bill as it is. So they have done multiple modifications, and this particular bill was submitted on 27th of July 2018 by the committee, by the Justice B.N. Srikrishna Committee. After then, what has happened, the government of India has gone through, like this particular ministry also has gone through the nuances of the draft bill that was submitted by the expert committee, and they have made multiple changes in that particular bill, okay, and they have made changes in such a manner that gives the central government a wide ranging power, right, power in the sense that the central government will be able to like use the personal data of citizens by citing certain norms like public order and some other similar things. So these things like so the central government like they modified the bill, draft bill that was submitted by the expert committee, and after modifying they have presented this particular bill in the Parliament of India, okay, they have presented this bill. And this bill was also open for public discussion, for public recommendation or for public suggestions. And public at large, public, private companies, organizations, the foreign companies, all of them, many people have given their own suggestion related to this bill. And then this bill went to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, okay, it went to the JPC for scrutiny. And the Joint Parliamentary Committee has given a report on this particular bill, and that report had more than 529 pages, and that report has multiple recommendations on changing or correcting multiple provisions in this particular bill. So there were more than 19 amendment related suggestions from the Joint Parliamentary Committee. So for the government of India, in making all those modifications is going to take a huge amount of time. So as of now, the government of India has decided to withdraw this particular bill, and they are going to come up with a new bill, okay, they are going to come up with a new bill, and that particular bill will consider all those things, all those recommendations that were suggested by the Joint Parliamentary Committee. But like if we talk about the personal data protection bill, this data protection bill had multiple provisions. One of the provisions is related to localization of personal data. Localization of personal data means, let's consider there is a foreign company, okay, maybe let's say Amazon, okay, let's say Facebook. So there are other companies also, Microsoft, okay, so these are foreign companies. Their main place of where the headquarters is located is in United States of America. But these companies are also operating in India. They are processing the data of Indian citizens, and like they are not only processing the data of Indian citizens, but like they are storing the data of Indian citizens elsewhere. They are storing in let's say United States of America. So the thing is, effectively the government of India did not have a major control on these data. So that's why the government of India came up with the provision of data localization, that these companies like they can process the personal data, but like they have to keep a copy of the data in India, in Indian servers, okay, in servers located in India. And apart from this, the personal data, like the personal data was categorized in different categories, and this particular bill had also like definitions related to these categories of personal data. For example, if you talk about like what is personal data, so this particular bill says that the personal data was defined, okay, it says personal data as any characteristic, trait, attribute or any other feature, information that can be used to identify a person, okay. So this was the definition of personal data, okay. So personal data is any characteristic, trait, attribute or any other feature, information that can be used to identify a person, okay. So this was the definition of personal data. Apart from this, they have also mentioned what is sensitive personal data. They have mentioned sensitive personal data. So sensitive personal data are such data such as details on persons, finance, health, sexual orientation, practices, caste, political and religious beliefs, and biometric and genetic data, okay. It also created critical personal data category, okay. It also created critical personal data category, which was personal data as may be notified by the central government, okay. So like so this bill has a definition of personal data, sensitive personal data, critical personal data. Critical personal data was something that the central government may define, okay, maybe not that the central government may notify at a later stage, okay. So according to the government, the bill stated that while sensitive personal data can be transferred abroad for processing, a copy of it must be kept in India. Apart from this, the critical personal data can be stored and processed only in India, okay. So the bill mentioned that critical personal data can be processed and stored only in India. It cannot be sent abroad, okay. Several countries have such localization provisions considering the strategic and commercial implications of data. The new oil, okay, so now I mean, like, you know, data is considered to be the new oil because, like, you know, it has huge commercial impact, huge commercial interest, right? However, the businesses, both big, small, international, domestic, have issues with such localization, okay. So this was related to the data protection bill, okay. So now we need to see, like, you know, like multiple other things are also mentioned here. I have already discussed in my discussion today, okay. You can go through this article to understand in detail, okay. So the personal data protection bill as of now has been withdrawn by the government of India, and they have cited that they are going to come up with a new law, and that particular new law will look into, you know, multiple considerations that have been highlighted by the Joint Parliamentary Committee, okay. So with this, like, I am concluding today's discussion. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.